Sorry, Mrs. Jimenez. Unfortunately, knowing that food is an unreliable life navigator isn't enough to make me quit my reliance on its busted compass. I'm in too deep. That in itself should be enough to make this book entertaining. The second most translated book in the world is Don Quixote, the story of a guy who can't find his way because he's completely delusional. Dan is close enough to Don, so have fun at my quixotic expense. Oh, by the way, the most translated book in the world? The Bible. I've never read it. Too many dietary restrictions. Chapter 1. Appetizer. JK. I grew up one of 3 boys. My older brother Soli was an amazing athlete. My younger brother David was charming, cute, and got all the attention. I had a nondescript, chubby vibe, and like most middle children was forced to create new ways to get attention. Because my father was born in Iran and spent his formative years in Switzerland as a student, he had a robust passion for food. He did his best to pass down his European trappings to us. He raised us speaking French, drinking wine before our bar mitzvahs, and eating stinky, illegal, unpasteurized cheeses he would smuggle into the States. But neither of my brothers shared his love for la gourmandise, as he'd call it. I, chubby vibe, did. I'm not sure if I actually loved the eating or loved what it got me, an opportunity to bond with him on something my brothers could not. Either way, chicken or egg, as a child, I developed an appreciation for both a perfectly roasted chicken and a sublimely poached egg. I was a finicky little foodie in the making. By age 8, I knew which dishes demanded which fork, and I never got ice cream on my face when eating from even the drippiest of cones. When I turned 9, my parents took me to a Long Island pizza joint. When we entered, I looked at them and said, "It's my birthday and you're taking me out for pizza?" My dad still tells that story with pride. Also, no offense to Geno's of Great Neck. You guys are still the first place I hit up when I visit my parents. I've gotten slightly less pretentious than I was at 9. My dad and I would go to restaurants alone together. While my mom stayed at home with my brothers, he and I would set out on culinary adventures in New York City. And like most adventures, our dining escapades required a uniform. I would don my restaurant blazer, an olive green wool number with brown suede elbow patches, over one of Soli's hand-me-down shirts that had a stain on the breast pocket which my blazer just covered. When I was seated, chunks of flab would gasp for air between the buttons. My khakis had 2 pleats because I wasn't fucking around. My dad, in a handsome suit, helped me tie the laces on my moccasins, and we were off. Those trips are my fondest memories as a kid because I was finally able to enjoy my dad's attention without having to compete for it. We reveled in the most avant-garde foods New York City had to offer. Fresh pizzas at Mezzaluna, impeccable Côte de Boeuf at Leal. For my 11th birthday, Dad took me to Le Cirque. Let me repeat, we went to a New York Times 3-star restaurant for my 11th birthday. Quite an upgrade from Geno's. Again, I really love you guys. And I can still recite the menu from memory. There was something called a trio, a holy trinity of caviar, smoked salmon, and foie gras, a silky butternut squash soup with huckleberries, a seared Alaskan black cod that melted in my mouth, then something I had never had before, duck confit, a duck that was cooked in its own fat. The crispy skin and lusciously gamey, unctuous flesh beneath it didn't just create a memory. That memory was nailed a la Martin Luther to the door of my brain. Having this special connection with my dad helped me to be less contentious with Soli and David. I had textbook middle child syndrome. I could have written the foreword to said textbook. But because I knew I had a piece of my dad they'd never get, I was able to let down my guard and become a better brother. My being a better brother to them allowed them to be better brothers to me. Soli and I became best friends. He was my cheerleader, my mentor, my idol. I was a decent piano player, so he convinced me I could be a pro. I was not great at tennis, yet he told me that if I kept practicing, I could be, like him, number 1 on the college team. He gave me the confidence that helped me eventually become a comedian. You don't try to become a professional comedian without a healthy dose of delusion. When I was 16 and he was 20, we hit our sweet spot. I was having a tough time adjusting in high school because I was weird and eccentric. I had a fucking restaurant uniform, guys. So I'd go visit Soli at Brandeis to get away. He showed me that weird and eccentric were actually valuable assets at university, and that if I applied myself in high school, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. He was right. He saw in me a potential that nobody else did. And my fondness for his wisdom was at its peak. Sadly, it would only last 6 months longer.